Take a deep breath, Mr. Mills. There's no need to be alarmed. Inspector Hadley is just trying to get the facts absolutely clear.
All right, Doctor, leave it to me. Mr. Mills, are you telling me this mysterious stranger just disappeared off the face of the earth?
I'm telling you what happened, Inspector. 3 of us saw him. The other 2 actually spoke to him. And a few minutes later, this weird-looking man vanished.
Ah.
And he's never been seen since.
So he was weird-looking, was he?
Yes, he was. You see, he was wearing a mask. A shiny pink mask. The kind children wear at parties. And a black cap pulled well down. And a long black coat with a collar turned up. He pushed his way into the study and after that, he just disappeared into thin air.
Is that all you can tell us? You must have some ideas about the man, some theory.
There's only one idea that keeps occurring to me, though I'm trying to put it out of my mind. But I can't help wondering if perhaps the murder was like the Invisible Man in H.G. Wells' story, and that if you took away the black cap and the black coat and the false face, inside you might find nothing at all.
We present Hollow Man, a Dr. Fell mystery by John Dixon Carr, dramatized for radio by Peter Ling, with Donald Sinden as Dr. Fell. Part 1, Into Thin Air.
Extracts from notes made by me, Gideon Fell, on the night of Saturday, February the 9th, 1935.
Tell me something, Doctor. Do the words "the 3 coffins" mean anything to you?
I can't say they do. Is that where the story begins, with 3 corpses? Or rather 3 coffins empty?
That's what I'd like to know. But it's not where the story begins.
Then I suggest you follow the example of Alice in Wonderland, my dear chap. Begin at the beginning and go on till you get to the end. Then stop.
The trouble is, I'm not sure where or when the story began. It could have been a long time ago. But I know where it began for Boyd Mangan, in a little pub just around the corner from the British Museum a week ago.
And who is Boyd Mangan? Do I know it?
Not yet, but I hope you will. He's a young Canadian newspaperman working in London on the Evening Banner as a crime reporter. That's how I ran across him. Well, as I say, young Mangan was having a drink at the Warwick Tavern.
Yeah, I've been there. It's in Museum Street.
That's the one. Now, Mangan's got to know a few of the regulars, drinking cronies who meet there once or twice a week in the back room. There's old Burnaby, the artist, Professor Grimo, who's highly respected in academic circles, I understand, and his secretary, Stuart Mills. Oh, and a broken-down ex-teacher called Drayman, who's employed as Grimo's librarian. Now, Grimo seems to be the leader of the group. He sits at the head of the table with a glass of hot rum and water, holding forth on various arcane subjects like witchcraft and black magic. And on this particular evening, he got around to vampires.
Do you ever read my articles?
Gentlemen, I must ask you to put your questions one at a time, if you please. Now, Mangan, you were saying?
Yes, I'd like to know how these vampire legends began.
I believe they're widespread in the Slavonic land.
Thank you, Drayman. I was about to say, the belief had a firm grip on Hungary, where it was believed that dead men could leave their coffins and float through the air like a swirl of mist, until they took human shape and attacked their prey. Is something wrong, Mills?
Well, it seems a bit silly taking it seriously. It's only superstitious nonsense, after all.
Well, hang on. There must have been a grain of truth in it. Otherwise, the tale would never have got into circulation. Surely there must be some evidence, some kind of proof.
Proof. Of a kind, perhaps. Bodies exhumed from churchyards. Strange contorted corpses with blood upon their hands and faces.
Yeah, but that doesn't prove anything.
Quite so. These were the plague years. Poor devils, half dead, were sometimes buried alive. Imagine how they fought to get out of their graves before they expired. That's how such stories arose. And that's what interests me.
And I also am very interested.
Huh?
I didn't hear
Many gentlemen for intruding upon your conversation. But with your permission, I should like to ask the famous Professor Grimaud one question.
Well, sir?
Perhaps you do not believe a man can rise up from his coffin, that he can move around invisibly, that four walls mean nothing to him, and that he may be as dangerous as any fiend in hell.
No, sir, I do not. Do you?
Oh, yes. I have done it myself. More than that, I have a brother who can do much more than I, and he is very dangerous. I have no design upon your life, Professor, but he has. And if he should call upon you...
But that's enough. Look here, the chap's stark raving mad. Shouldn't we just...
No, let him alone. Let him have his say about his brother and his coffin.
Not one coffin. 3 coffins.
Very well. 3 coffins. As many as you like, for God's sake. And perhaps you'll tell us who you are.
Allow me. My card.
Thank you. Pierre Flay, illusionist. 2 Cagliostro Street. Care of the Academy Theatre. I thought as much. So you are a conjurer.
If you say so.
Are we about to witness one of your illusions?
Not now. When I associate with my brother, I too am in danger, and my time is short. But I have one more question for you. Very soon, someone will call upon you. Would you rather see me, or shall I send my brother?
I'll send your brother, and be damned to the pair of you.
And as Grimaud sprang to his feet and everyone leapt up, the stranger managed to slip away. Although Grimaud swore he wasn't upset, Mangan says he was as white as a sheet. But I suppose he's one of these Bloomsbury types, neurotic, always flying off the handle.
You're wrong there, my dear chap. He isn't. I've met Grimaud once or twice. He's a man of iron. So, what happened next?
Well, I gather Grimaud managed to make some sort of joke out of it, and everybody laughed and relaxed. Everyone except Stuart Mills. Mangan said he looked very shaken. And he must have been fairly shaken himself, because next day he decided to go along to the Academy Theatre to have a word with this conjurer chap.
The Academy? I don't think I know it.
No, it's a shabby music hall in the East End. He discovered that Pierre Flay shared a dressing room with an acrobat, a man from Dublin, but who calls himself the Great Pagliacci.
Well, you see, it looks good on the bills. The real name's O'Rourke. So, what can I do for you, sir?
I was hoping to speak to Mr. Flay.
Who?
Pierre Flay. I thought you shared this room.
Oh, him? I never remember them foreign names. Everybody here calls him Looney. Well, you just missed him. He is on in the first half, you see. And as soon as he's done, he packs up and leaves. I'll be seeing him tomorrow. I can give him a message.
Well, the fact is, I was hoping to find out a little more about Mr. Flay. What do you know about him?
Not a lot, and that's no lie. Nobody knows him. He's not the sociable type. But I'll say this for him. It's a damn good act. I am surprised some West End management hasn't picked him up.
What sort of act does he do?
Oh, illusions, high-class conjuring. His speciality is vanishing tricks. But he is a cut above the general run. He works without an assistant and packs all his props in a special box he uses, the size and shape of a coffin.
A coffin?
Yes, he is quite the expert on coffins. One night, I asked him why that was, and he gave me a funny look and says, "There were 3 of us once, buried alive. Only the one escaped."
What?
Oh, that wasn't the strangest part of it. I says, "Sounds like a narrow squeak. You were lucky to escape." And he laughs and says, "I didn't. I was one of the 2 who didn't escape." Hey! Well, I mustn't stand here yapping. That's the Adagio dance is finished and I am on next.
I was one of the 2 who didn't escape. That's what he said.
Now, my guess is Pierre Flay has some kind of grudge against Grimaud. He may be out to make trouble.
Well, has there been any more trouble since they met at the Warwick Tavern?
Well, I can't prove that Flay's behind it, but according to Stuart Mills, Grimaud's secretary...
Yes, go on.
Mills says letters have been arriving for the professor every day. Grimaud just tore them up. But yesterday he phoned Mangan and said, "I want you here on Saturday night. Someone's threatening to call on me."
Why didn't he get on to the police?
Mangan suggested that, but Grimaud wouldn't hear of it. So Mangan said, "Flay's obviously crazy. Aren't you taking any steps to defend yourself?" And the professor replied, "Oh, yes, I'm going to buy a painting to hang on the wall, a picture by my friend Burnaby. Which is why I came to see you. I mean, if that's his idea of defending himself."
Oh, quite so. Have you got Grimaud's address?
He lives in Russell Square. But I don't see...
Neither do I. But I take it your car is outside?
Yes.
Splendid. And now you go down and warm up the motor while I fetch my hat and cloak.
Yes, but look here...
When an alleged lunatic threatens a sane man, we may or may not be disturbed. But when a sane man begins to act like a lunatic, something must be done. It was snowing as we drove along the Strand, and I noticed a clock in the Aldwych that said 5 minutes past 10. Tell me, why does your friend Mangan take such a personal interest in the professor's welfare? For someone who's only a casual acquaintance...
I believe his personal interest is not so much the professor as the professor's daughter, Rosette.
Yeah, well, that would explain it, yes. You didn't tell me the professor is a married man.
His wife died when Rosette was born. She was brought up by his housekeeper, Madame de Mont. Here we are, Russell Square. And it stopped snowing. That didn't last long.
Long enough to whiten the pavements. Which is Grimaud's house?
That one. The blinds are down, but you can see lights in the ground floor window. It all looks very still and peaceful under the snow.
Hadley spoke too soon. Suddenly a blind was torn aside. The window opened and a figure climbed out onto the sill.
He'll fall into the area if he's not careful.
He's jumped... Oh, he's cleared the railings.
What the dickens? Hey, you! Stay right where you are! Good Lord! Mangan!
Oh, am I glad to see you. You've got to get help fast.
What in God's name are you up to?
Don't waste any time. He's locked us in.
Will somebody please tell me what is going on?
Mangan, this is Dr. Gideon Fell.
Oh, Dr. Fell. Glad to know you, sir.
Yes, but what's happened?
I don't know. There was a shot upstairs. Rosette and I both heard it, but we couldn't open the door. He'd locked us in.
Steady on. Who locked the door?
He did. Flay, of course. He must be still up there. We've got to find him. We'll have to break the front door down.
Just a minute. Why don't we try it first? We're in luck. After you, gentlemen. They raced inside and ran up the stairs. I followed at my own pace. My figure is built for comfort rather than speed.
His study is up here. The first floor.
Please answer me, Professor. Are you all right? Oh, Mangan. You must help me. They're both in there, but I can't get in. Who's this?
Police. Another locked door?
Hey, that's right. Rosette's still in the drawing room. She'll be going frantic. I'll be right back. Oh, excuse me, Doctor.
Don't mention it. Well, what have we here? You're the secretary, I take it.
Yes, sir, Stuart Mills. We've got to get in. Somebody's in there with the professor. I heard a gun go off, and he doesn't answer. But I could hear noises. Someone moving about.
Keep well back, please, if the fellow's armed. Right. Here goes. And once more. Second time lucky.
Not so lucky for the professor, I fear.
Oh, my God. So much blood.
Stay where you are, Mr. Mills. And if you've got a weak stomach, don't look. Come on, Doctor.
We could all swear that nothing came out of that room, though something had tried to get out. Something that tried to drag itself across the carpet. It choked, rolled onto its side, and lay still. Apart from that, the room was empty.
Dead? Dying. See the colour? He's got a bullet through the lung. Mills, call an ambulance.
Yes, of course.
There's not much hope for him, but he may be able to tell us something before... Dr. Grimaud, can you hear me? Who did this? Was it the man Pierre Flay?
No, not him.
Then who was it? Do you know?
That's all right. Madame Dumont's looking after her, and... Is he...
Shh, I'm trying to hear.
Grimaud struggled to speak. His lips moved, but his strength was ebbing away, and it was hard to distinguish the words. Then his eyelids closed, and he said no more.
He's passed out. Did Mills call the ambulance?
Yeah, it's on its way. There's a small hospital not far from here, practically around the corner. Look, isn't there anything we can do for him?
Nothing, except get to work.
But what's happened to the other man, Flay?
Ah, yes. Pierre Flay, who didn't commit the crime. Grimaud himself told us that.
Then who did?
A good question, and I'll add another. Where's the gun that shot him?
And while we're about it, where's the knife?
Knife?
Yeah.
The poor devil has a bullet in his chest.
I'm talking about the knife which was used to attack this picture. I assume this is the painting that Grimaud bought from Burnaby.
I guess so. What's it supposed to be?
It was a huge canvas, lying on the floor as if it had been pulled down off the wall. A landscape, but no ordinary landscape. A crooked tree and a ghostly range of mountains in the distance. In the foreground were 3 graves, 3 headstones. But now there were half a dozen knife slashes in the canvas, which gave the impression that the graves had begun to heave and crack open, as if they were about to give up their dead.
Which leaves us with a criminal assault. No gun, no knife, and no criminal.
He must have done what I did. Climbed out of one of the windows.
On the first floor and closed it carefully after him?
He must also have been lighter than air. If you look down, you'll see the snow on the pavement is completely unmarked. Not a single footprint.
Ah, here's the ambulance.
15 minutes later, when Grimaud had been rushed off for an emergency operation, and Hadley and I had searched the room thoroughly, we had to admit defeat. Some of the furniture had been moved around. In front of the huge chimney-piece, a leather sofa had been pushed aside, and a chair rolled back, its feet snarled up in the hearthrug. A small coal fire had been alight in the grate, but now it was smothered under a mass of burnt, blackened papers. There was blood on the rug and on the sofa, but there was nowhere that a man could be hiding. So,
Mr. Mills, I want you to tell us again exactly what happened. Don't leave anything out, however insignificant it might appear to be.
I've tried to remember, but everything seemed to happen at once.
You say you had this room under observation all the evening?
Yes. You see, the little room across the landing is my office. I sat at my desk with the door open, so I had a clear view of this door. Nobody could have come in without my seeing them.
And who did you see?
The professor came upstairs after supper at 7:30. He told me he didn't want to be disturbed, but he expected a visitor about 9:30. He didn't tell me who, but I knew who he meant, and I kept my eye on the door just in case.
And where were the rest of the household?
Mangan and Miss Grimaud were down in the drawing room. Earlier on, Mr. Drayman, the lodger, said he was going out. Well, I didn't see him after that.
And Madame Dumont?
I saw her when she brought the professor his after-dinner coffee, and she came up later to collect the cup and saucer. She was just coming out when the front doorbell rang down below.
What time would that have been?
About 9:45. She went down to the front door, and 2 minutes later she came upstairs with a visiting card on a silver tray. She was about to knock at the professor's door when, to my surprise, I saw the stranger following her. When she turned round and found him close behind her, she was very startled.
What are you doing here, huh? I asked you to wait in the hall.
My time is short. I cannot wait.
You must wait. Stay there until I have spoken to Professor Grimaud.
I tell you, I cannot wait. You will permit me to open the door.
How dare you!
What is the meaning of this? In God's name, who are you?
Don't push me! Come back at once!
That was the last I saw of him, whoever he was. He forced his way into the room, the door shut. I know it sounds impossible, but I swear he...
Take a deep breath, Mr. Mills. There's no need to be
All
alarmed.
right, Doctor, leave it to me. Mr. Mills, are you telling me this mysterious stranger just disappeared off the face of the earth?
I'm telling you what happened, Inspector. 3 of us saw him. The other 2 actually spoke to him. And a few minutes later, this weird-looking man vanished.
Ah!
And he's never been seen since.
So he was weird-looking, was he?
Yes, he was. You see, he was wearing a mask, a shiny pink mask, the kind children wear at parties, and a black cap pulled well down, and a long black coat with the collar turned up. He pushed his way into the study, and after that, just disappeared into thin air.
Well, is that all you can tell us? You must have some ideas about the man, some theory.
Well, there's only one idea that keeps occurring to me, though I'm trying to put it out of my mind. But I can't help wondering if perhaps the murderer was like the Invisible Man in H.G. Wells' story, and if you took away the black cap and the black coat and the false face, inside you might find nothing at all. I don't expect anyone to believe me, but...
I believe you. I saw everything.
Ah, you are Madame Dumont?
I am Ernestine Dumont, and I have come to help you find the man who shot Charles Grimaud. I wanted to go with him in the ambulance, but they would not let me. They said the police would wish to speak with me. Well, here I am.
Please, sit down, Madame. I'd like to hear your statement in a moment when we finish with Mr. Mills. Perhaps you can corroborate what he has to say.
Very well.
So, Mr. Mills, you saw the stranger slip in through that door.
The professor made a move to stop him, but the stranger was too quick for him. And as the door closed, I saw... Well, I had the impression that Madame Dumont closed the door after him.
What? You idiot! You think I would assist that man to come into this room, huh? Alone, with Charles? He pushed the door shut behind him and turned the key in the lock.
Well, Mr. Mills, is that correct?
I don't know. I'm only telling you what I thought I saw. Perhaps I was mistaken.
I assure you, you are very much mistaken. But on one point I agree. That devil was wearing a false face. You may continue.
Thank you. Madame was very agitated and began to call the professor by his first name and rattle the door. And I heard him call out, go away, I can handle this. Well, something like that, anyway.
And you, Madame, did you do as he told you?
I have obeyed Charles Grimaud for over 20 years. I never knew a situation which he could not handle.
I see. Well, Mr. Mills, Madame went downstairs and you stayed in your room watching the door.
Until I heard the shot, 5 or 10 minutes later.
And during that time you heard nothing else?
Well, the door was very thick. At one point I thought I heard voices and something else which I can only describe as a kind of bumping around. I don't know what it was.
Thank you. I'll have some other questions later. In the meantime, would you mind asking Mr. Mangan to come up here? Oh, and Miss Grimaud, if she feels up to answering questions.
Certainly. Thank you, Inspector.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Now, Madame, perhaps you'll give us your version of these events.
Yes, I will do my best. Does your colleague have to wander about the room like that? I find it extremely irritating.
Oh, I do beg your pardon. I was studying the books, the decor, the coat of arms above the fireplace.
But what are you doing here, huh? You don't look like a policeman to me.
Let me introduce you. Madame Dumont, Dr. Gideon Fell, who sometimes assists me in my inquiries.
A great pleasure, Madame.
Indeed. And how much longer am I to be kept waiting in this icy room? The fire's gone out. May I relight it before we all catch our death of cold?
I see no reason.
I wouldn't advise that. Not until we find out what those papers are, which someone has burnt in the grate. It must have been quite a bonfire.
Oh, why are men so stupid? You do nothing but talk. You know very well who did this terrible thing. It was Pierre Flay. You know that. Why don't you go after him?
Because Pierre Flay didn't do it. The professor told us that himself.
What?
Just before he collapsed. Now tell me, do you know Pierre Flay?
No, I never saw him until tonight. But I know what Charles told me. He is a maniac. And he has a brother who is even worse. Charles said one of them would come tonight. And when I came upstairs at 9:45, the doorbell rang. I went down to answer it, and the man was standing outside. He gave me his visiting card and said, please take this to the professor and ask if he will see me.
What about the mask he was wearing? Didn't that strike you as odd?
There was a street lamp behind him. His face was in shadow. I didn't see it until he followed me upstairs. Much later, I found I still had the card in my hand, but when I looked at it, there was nothing on it. The card was blank. And now, please, will you let me go to the hospital to see Charles?
One moment, madame. I must ask, how long have you been the professor's housekeeper? Let me rephrase that. How long have you known him?
For more than 25 years. And for a time, I was more than his housekeeper. I tell you this so you will not make any trouble, not for myself, but for Rosette. Rosette Grimaud is my daughter. She was born here. There had to be a record. But she does not know of it. Nobody knows. I trust you to keep silent.
We shall say nothing, madame. Where did you first meet Grimaud?
In Paris.
You are Parisian?
No. I was born in the provinces, but I was working in the city when we met as a costumier.
Uh-huh. And Grimaud, where is he from?
The south of France. His family are all dead. We are all the family he has.
I understand, yes. Has he ever spoken to you about the 7 Towers? Madame, are you feeling unwell?
I'm perfectly well. But I don't know what you are talking about. I never heard of 7 Towers.
I only wondered. Because of this painting. The mountains in the background, they look rather like castle walls, don't they? A castle with 7 towers. Do you know why the professor bought this picture?
I know nothing about it. Charles would not tell me why he bought it. Why don't you ask Burnaby? He painted it. He ought to know. But the painting means nothing. It looks like the picture of a country that does not exist.
Yeah, I fear you may be right. And if 3 people were buried in a country that does not exist, it might be difficult to find them.
I won't stay and listen to any more of this nonsense. Are you all crazy, huh? If someone tried to kill Charles, what would they do? He would not put on a mask like children on bonfire night. He would not hand in a blank visiting card, go upstairs, vanish through the window. You sit here talking nonsense while my poor Charles is at death's door. Rosette, what is it? What's happened?
I've been to the hospital. You must get there as fast as you can, Aunt Ernestine. They say it won't be long now.
As soon as the 2 women had gone, Hadley made some phone calls. He sent a policeman to Cagliostro Street to pick up Pierre Flay. He called in forensic experts and photographers to go over Grimaud's room, looking for footprints, fingerprints, clues of any kind. And he had all the charred papers in the grate taken away to be examined. Then he remembered something I'd said.
I think it's time to compare notes, Doctor. Now tell me about those 7 towers and the country that never existed.
Let's leave that for a moment. Now, where's your friend Mangan?
I think he was talking to Mills just now.
Splendid. Let's have him in. I think he may be able to help us.
Well, if you say so. Mangan, a word with you, please. Though how he's going to help us.
Mangan was in here when the professor passed out. I want to ask him if...
Yes, what is it?
Come in. And shut the door.
Sure. What can I do for you?
This may be nothing, or it may be the most important clue of all. I'm talking about those faint mutterings we heard from Grimaud just before he lost consciousness. The inspector asked if Flay had shot him, and he said no.
Right. So I asked him who did it.
Exactly. And what did he say? I want you both to tell me exactly what you thought you heard.
Well, the first word sounded to me like hover, and then something about a bath. Then he said something that sounded like not suicide, and something about got gun.
You heard some of it, but not in the right order.
Oh?
After the word bath, I heard him say salt and wine. I heard got gun, and last of all, don't blame poor...
Don't blame poor who?
I don't know. That's when he passed out.
Hover, bath, salt, wine, not suicide, got gun, don't blame poor. Let's try to work out what happened in here after the shot was fired. There are signs of a struggle, bloodstains on the sofa and the rug. The fireplace seems to be the center of activity.
Maybe the stranger escaped through the chimney.
No, I looked up. It starts off wide enough, then the flue becomes so narrow you could barely get your fist through. But think about those charred papers and the behavior of Madame Dumont. From the moment she walked in, she kept looking at that grate. When I went to investigate, she became almost hysterical. She even asked us to light the fire. She wanted to make sure that those papers were completely destroyed.
So she knew what was going on.
After he was shot, Grimaud went to desperate lengths to destroy evidence of some sort. She knew that. It was a secret they shared.
Yeah, what kind of secret?
I can only tell you part of it. For a start, neither Grimaud nor Dumont is French.
What?
They are Hungarian. I recognized the coat of arms on the chimney breast, and I found several books in Hungarian on the shelves. Some with Grimaud's real name on the flyleaf. Karoli, the Hungarian Theorema, the Seven Towers. Not salt wine, but salt mines. But that's not the secret he's been trying to cover up. I believe he committed some crime involving coffins and people being buried alive.
3 of them buried alive, only 1 escaped.
I've already got a man out looking for Flay. But what about the third brother, the Invisible Man? Where is he now?
Like his brothers, he may have taken a French name. We already have Charles and Pierre. For argument's sake, let's call him Brother Henri.
And what can you tell us about Brother Henri?
Nothing. Nothing at all.
Come in.
I believe you wanted to see me, Inspector.
Ah, Miss Grimaud, yes, if you're sure you feel well enough to answer questions.
Quite well, thank you. But I have a question to ask you, gentlemen. Is it true, this story I hear about a man attacking my father and disappearing into thin air?
Not quite. I've no doubt it was a perfectly simple trick, and we shall soon find out how it was done. I hope you may be able to help us.
If I can, I will. What do you want to know?
I understand you and Mr. Mangan were downstairs when the visitor arrived. Did you see or hear him at all?
We didn't see him, but we heard the bell, and presently Aunt Ernestine said something like, "Wait here." Then he called to us. "It's only me, going up to see the governor." Mr. Drayman's the only person who calls Father governor. But he sounded rather hoarse, as if he had a cold.
But Drayman lives here. Why would he ring the bell?
He could have gone out without his key.
Mangan, why in heaven's name didn't you say...
Well, afterwards we realized it couldn't have been Drayman, so we kept quiet about it. Well, we didn't want to put the old boy through the 3rd degree. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He's the kindest man alive. He throws parties for the local children on bonfire night.
However, Hatley decided it was high time we made some inquiries about the elusive Mr. Drayman. He asked Rosette and Mangan to wait downstairs, then called in Stuart Mills.
Mr. Mills, you told us Mr. Drayman had gone out.
Yes, he said he was going to a concert at the Albert Hall.
Well, it must have been a long concert. It's getting on for midnight.
Never mind that. What can you tell us about him? How long have you known him?
Well, ever since I came to work here. He's lived in the basement for years. He's employed as a librarian, though he has very poor eyesight. Reading for any length of time gives him a bad headache.
So it was really a sinecure. Do you suppose Drayman has some sort of claim on Professor Grimaud?
Once, in an expansive mood, the professor told me Drayman had saved his life.
Ah.
And I understand he entertains the local children on bonfire night.
He had 2 children of his own who were killed in a tragic accident ages ago, and his wife died soon after of a broken heart. He likes to do something for the neighbouring children. He saves up all year round.
Excuse
and
me,
then
sir. Could you spare a minute?
Yeah, very well. Mr. Mills, perhaps you'd go and see if Drayman has returned. I'd like a word with him.
Yes, Inspector, of course.
Thank you. Well, Sergeant, what is it?
A couple of things, sir. Report from Cagliostro Street. The constable was unable to raise anyone at number 2. Mr. Flay appears to be out.
Really? And what's that you've got there?
Package and a letter from the surgeon at the hospital, sir.
Thank you. For Inspector Hadley. Charles Grimaud died at 11:30 p.m. I'm sending you the bullet I extracted at .38. He was barely conscious by the end and said certain things which can be attested by the nurses who were present. His exact words were, "It was my brother who did it. I never thought he would shoot. God knows how he got out of that room. One second he was there and the next he wasn't. I want to tell you who my brother is. He died before he could say any more. If there is anything further I can do, please let me know, etc., etc."
When Mills returned, he said Drayman had been downstairs all the time, fast asleep. So we went to his room at once.
Mr. Drayman, I'm Inspector Hadley, and this is Dr. Gideon Fell.
How do you... I beg your pardon. I'm afraid I'm not quite awake.
We were told you'd gone to a concert.
I meant to, but then I had a very bad headache, so I took a sleeping pill and lay down. The next thing I knew was Mills waking me up and telling me about the professor. Is he...
Professor Grimaud is dead.
God rest his soul. Charles Grimaud was a very good friend to me. I wish there was something I could do.
There is. Tell us, where and when did you first meet?
Oh, it must have been about 1905, in Paris. I was at the university...
Earlier than that,
there.
I think. You helped him escape from the Siventura prison in Carpathia, didn't you?
How did you know?
Tell us the truth about Caroly Orvas and his brothers. We believe one of them killed him.
No, that's impossible. He and his brothers were imprisoned for some political offence, but the other two died there of bubonic plague.
You must tell us everything you know.
One day, in 1901, I was travelling through Carpathia on horseback. The wind was howling, and then I came upon 3 graves, newly dug.
Very like the scene in Burnaby's painting. Mountains and 3 headstones.
I never told Burnaby any of this. There were no headstones on those graves, just 3 crosses made of sticks, and the wind blowing. Suddenly, my horse saw the graves and reared up in terror. And I saw it too. One of those mounds of earth was heaving, slithering. Suddenly I heard something breaking open. A dark, mud-coloured thing fumbling into the light. The groping fingers of a hand. A man trying to struggle free. So I went to help him.
Dear God.
He told me not to be alarmed. He swore he was not dying of the plague. He was a political prisoner making his escape. His brothers had died in their cell, and Charles then persuaded the prison doctor to pretend he'd died with them. They were all buried in shallow graves. But the doctor smuggled a pair of wire cutters into his coffin. As long as he kept his nerve and didn't use up too much air, he could force open the lid and push his way up through the loose earth.
But even so, how could he possibly...
He had some money hidden away in his village. There were no passports in those days. We travelled to Paris, where there was a girl.
I think we know who she was.
Yes, we don't want to rake up old scandals. The professor made me swear never to tell this story. But now, I suppose it doesn't matter.
When I got to bed that night, I lay awake, thinking, if Grimaud's brothers had died in prison, his last words made no sense at all. At breakfast time, Hadley arrived with the morning paper and threw it down in front of me.
Have you seen this? So much for Pierre Flay.
Magician murdered by magic. Middle of Cagliostro Street. The second bullet is for you. What is all this?
I let the papers make a splash so we could appeal for information. I'll read it while you eat your toast, though I warn you, it may spoil your appetite. Pierre Flay, a French conjurer, was found shot at 10 o'clock last night in mysterious circumstances.
10 o'clock?
Yes, about 5 minutes after Grimaud was shot, while we were all at Russell Square.
What else does it say?
Cagliostro Street is a cul-de-sac with a few shops on the corner and a terrace of houses along each side. Two visitors to London were returning to their boarding house when they heard someone following them and glanced back to see a third man, later identified as Flay, a short distance behind them. At the same time, Police Constable Wilson, on patrol, crossed the entrance to Cagliostro Street and looked in. They all heard a cry of alarm. Then someone uttered the words, "The second bullet is for you," followed by a mocking laugh and a pistol shot. As they turned round, Flay stopped, screamed, and pitched forward onto his face. There was no one else in the street. This was confirmed by Constable Wilson, who found the victim with a bullet wound under his shoulder blade. The weapon, a .38 Colt revolver, had been thrown down some 10 feet off. The singed condition of Flay's overcoat showed the weapon could only have been fired from a few inches away, but the wound in the back was in such a position suicide was impossible. Well, what do you think?
I don't think I shall finish my breakfast. Charles is dead. Pierre is dead.
Yes. I think we need to find Brother Henri.
In Part 1 of The Hollow Man, by John Dickson Carr, Dr. Gideon Fell was played by Donald Sinden, and Detective Inspector Hadley by John Hartley. Professor Grimaud, Nigel Davenport, Boyd Mangan, Chris Pavlo, Stuart Mills, Johan Meredith, Ernestine Dumont, Gilly Mears. Rosette Grimaud, Amanda Gordon, Henry Drayman, Hugh Dixon, Michael O'Rourke, Steve Hodson, Pierre Flay, Sean Baker, Sergeant Beth, Robert Harper. The Hollow Man was dramatized for radio by Peter Ling and directed by Enid Williams.
Notes made by me, Gideon Fell, concerning the murder of Professor Grimaud, a Hungarian expatriate living in London. On Saturday night, February the 9th, 1935, Grimaud was shot by an unknown visitor wearing a paper mask in his own study behind a locked door. When Inspector Hadley forced the door open, he found Grimaud in a pool of blood, but the visitor had vanished into thin air. 35 years earlier, Grimaud and his two brothers had been imprisoned in Hungary. Grimaud was bedded alive in a shallow grave, from which he managed to escape. But it was thought that his brothers, buried in similar graves, were already dead. Now it seemed that one brother had returned under the name of Pierre Flay. He was a music hall conjurer, and by means of a stage illusion, or perhaps black magic, he had killed Charles Grimaud. Next morning, Hadley interrupted my breakfast to bring me the Sunday papers. Magician murdered by magic. Riddle of Cagliostro Street. What is all this?
I'll read it while you eat your toast. Pierre Flay was found shot at 10 o'clock last night in mysterious circumstances.
10 o'clock? But that's...
Yes, about 5 minutes after Grimaud was shot, while we were all at Russell Square.
What else did it say?
Cagliostro Street is a cul-de-sac with a few shops on the corner and a terrace of houses along each side. Two visitors to London were returning to their boarding house when they heard someone following them and glanced back to see a third man, later identified as Flay, a short distance behind them. At the same time, Police Constable Wilson, on patrol, crossed the entrance to Cagliostro Street and looked in. They all heard a cry of alarm, then someone uttered the words, "The second bullet is for you," followed by a mocking laugh and a pistol shot. As they turned round, Flay stopped, screamed, and pitched forward onto his face. There was no one else in the street.
We present The Hollow Man, a Dr. Fell mystery by John Dickson Carr, dramatized for radio by Peter Ling, with Donald Sinden as Dr. Fell. Part 2, The Second Bullet.
Please, go on.
Constable Wilson found the victim with a bullet wound under his shoulder blade. The weapon, a .38 Colt revolver, had been thrown down some 10 feet off. The singed condition of Flay's overcoat showed the weapon could only have been fired from a few inches away, but the wound in the back was in such a position suicide was impossible. Well, what do you think?
I don't think I shall finish my breakfast. Charles is dead. Pierre is dead, leaving only the third brother. Shall we call him Henri?
Yes, I think we need to find Brother Henri.
Who, by all accounts, is also dead. What about footprints in the snow?
There were none, except those of the dead man and the 3 witnesses, of course.
And their testimony is reliable?
Well, the 2 chaps come from Birmingham. It's their first visit to London, and we've no reason to doubt them. And I trust Constable Wilson. As to the weapon, Flay was shot with a Colt 38, just like Grimaud. Brother Henri took no chances. After he'd shot Grimaud at about 5 minutes to 10, he guessed we'd go looking for Flay, so he made sure he got to him before we did. But we do know one thing. Henri can't be one of Grimaud's cronies in disguise. When Flay was shot, they were all at Russell Square with us.
All except one.
What? Well, Mangan, Mills, Draymond, they were all under one roof.
You've left out one important person. Burnaby, the artist who painted the landscape we found in Grimaud's study. The picture of those 3 graves in a far-off country. I'd like to meet Mr. Burnaby.
So would I. I've got a man trying to track him down. But at present, I'm anxious to get all the information I can about the late Pierre Flay.
Was he killed instantly?
Almost. By the time they got him to a doctor, he was done for.
And where was that?
Well, luckily there's a doctor at the far end of Cagliostro Street, only a few steps away. I'll show you when we get there.
Oh, so we are off to Cagliostro Street.
Of course. I don't know what we shall find there, but so far we've been going round in circles. Anything's better than that.
Cagliostro Street is a narrow backwater opening off Lamb's Conduit Street, tucked away between a tobacconist's and a small jeweller's. The snow had melted during the night to a thin grey slush. Cheerful sort of place, I must say. And where did Flay live?
Number 2, on the corner. He had an attic room over the tobacconist's. We'll look in later and see what we can find. And he was shot halfway along the street. Just about here.
Ah, that's very interesting.
Oh, is it?
Well, where in heaven's name was Flay going? I mean, it's a cul-de-sac. Nothing but a brick wall at the end.
The 2 chaps from Birmingham were a few yards ahead on their way back to their lodgings. Do you suppose he was following them?
I wish I knew. What time is it?
Just gone 11. There's a clock over the jeweller's shop. O'Rourke should be here by now.
Who?
O'Rourke, the Irish acrobat on the same bill as Flay at the music hall. He was the only person we could find to identify the body last night, and I asked him to meet us here this morning.
I doubt if he can tell us what we want to know. For one thing, you show me where Flay died, but where did the murderer come from?
He came from here.
Sergeant, don't ever do that again. Doctor, you know Sergeant Betts?
Yes. Good morning, Sergeant.
Morning, sir. Sorry if I startled you. I was in number 18 in the doorway.
And what were you doing there?
Making a few inquiries, along with Mr. O'Rourke. Here he comes.
Oh, pleased to meet you, gentlemen. O'Rourke, the name, Michael O'Rourke. Also known as the Great Pagliacci. So sorry to hear about Mr. Flay.
When did you see him last?
Last night. When he'd finished his act and took off his grease paint, he started packing up his paraphernalia. Hey, what are you doing with all your props? Sure they have never given you the push, have they?
No, but I won't be here next week. My work here is over. Tonight I go to meet my brother. He can do something which will settle some unfinished business for both of us.
Sure, I don't know what you're talking about.
It is not important, except if anything goes wrong tonight, you will find my brother in Cagliostro Street.
Cagliostro? Isn't that where Huldigs are?
He is not at my address. He lives elsewhere, but he must have taken a room there. If anything should happen to me, you will know where to find him. Good night, my friend.
Hey, no, wait a bit. Where are you going?
I am going back to my grave.
And sure, that was the last time I set eyes on him, till I saw him laid out on a slab. God rest him.
Well, that must be where he was going last night, to call on his brother.
Acting on Mr. O'Rourke's information, I inquired around the houses here and discovered a single gentleman has been renting a small apartment lately on the first floor of number 18.
Good work, Sergeant. Have you searched the place?
I took a look around and found some traces of bloodstains.
Well, what are we waiting for? Let's go.
Through here, gentlemen, in the bedroom.
Hello, what's all this?
By Jiminy, it looks like Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves.
Oh, the Arabian Nights. Hanging lamps, luxurious divan.
An oriental harem. This throws a new light on Brother Henri.
Well, sir, talking of throwing a light on it, when the landlady let me in, I couldn't turn on the lights.
Huh?
I thought they'd fused, but she told me they work off a meter, and when I put a shilling in, the lights came on.
I think you said something about bloodstains.
Yes, sir, there's been some attempt to clean the place up, but you can still see traces on the carpet. And on this damp face cloth. I think it's what he used to sponge his clothes.
But this isn't his flat. We don't know who it belongs to.
Sorry, sir, I thought I'd told you. I asked the landlady and she gave me his name. Jerome Burnaby.
Burnaby? Doctor, you were right. Burnaby's our man.
Oh, no, he's not. Oh, Christmas, that's torrid. We're up a gum tree again.
Well, I don't see anything to laugh at. Doesn't this convince you that Burnaby's our man?
It convinces me that he's absolutely innocent.
What?
Now, look around. Did you ever know a criminal who had such a romantic hideaway? You put your finger on it when you said he was like an oriental harem. That's exactly what it is. A tuppence-coloured love nest.
Well, that's all very well, but what about the blood? Mr. O'Rourke, tell me exactly what Flay said about his brother renting an apartment in this street.
Well, no, he said something like he must have got a room there. I have seen him hanging about.
What else did he say about his brother?
Well, nothing, not a word. Same as he never told anyone how he did his stage tricks.
I take it you've seen the papers about Flay and Grimaud.
Sure he did.
Some sort of illusion must have been used to kill both men. You know a lot about stage magic. Can you think of any trick that might explain how it was done?
Oh, I'm no authority, and even if I was, I'd never talk about such things.
Why not?
Because people always get disappointed when they are let into the secret. They don't like to admit they have been fooled. And if it's a trick worked with a confederate, they say, oh, well, if you have to have someone to help. As if it made it unfair somehow.
Well, yes, but that is cheating.
That's what I mean. I will give you an example. On stage, you have got a troop of assistants in white uniforms, and on comes the magician in a blue uniform on a great white horse. They go round in a circle. Then two of the attendants hold up a couple of huge fans, which, just for a moment, hide the man on the horse. Down come the fans, and hey presto, there's the horse, but the ride has vanished. Do you want to know how?
Well, go on, tell us.
Well, sure he hasn't vanished at all. Only you don't see him because that grand blue uniform is made of paper over a white uniform. When the fans go up, he tears off the blue one and stuffs it into his white jacket. Then jumps down and runs off with the other attendants. Now that's how it's done. You look at something without seeing it. And so you swear it wasn't there.
Yes, well, that's all very interesting, but it doesn't solve our problem. What's bothered me all along is why Flay sent his brother to do his dirty work. Flay was the conjurer. Flay was the man to do it, but he didn't.
Shh, keep quiet, all of you. There are two people approaching the house. A tall man, who might be Burnaby, and a young lady, Rosette Grimaud.
Sergeant, put the lights out. O'Rourke, nip down and keep that landlady talking until our visitors have let themselves in.
Sure, I'll do my best.
What did you think of O'Rourke?
I think he's the most stimulating, enlightening witness I've heard yet. Almost as enlightening as the church bells.
Church bells? What church bells?
Oh, any church bells. The thought of those bells has brought me light and wisdom at last.
Oh, yes. And did they tell you how the vanishing trick was done?
Unfortunately, no. They only told me the name of the murderer.
The name of the...
Shh, here they come.
You mean you lost the key I gave you? You didn't come here last night after all.
I never had any intention of coming here. I hope you passed a pleasant evening waiting for me.
No, I wasn't here. I changed my mind.
That's a lie, Jerome. You were here.
What makes you think I...
We'd like to hear the answer to that question, Mr. Burnaby.
What the devil? I warn you, I happen to have a sword stick.
You won't need it, Jerome. They're the police.
Please do carry on with your conversation. Miss Grimaud says you were in this flat last night. Is that true?
No, I was not.
Well, Miss Grimaud?
This has nothing to do with my father's death. Whatever else Jerome may be, he's not a murderer. All the same, he was in the flat last night.
And how do you know that, unless you were here yourself?
I wasn't here, but I saw a light in this room soon after 10.
You saw it? Where were you?
At the hospital, in the room where my father was dying. It's in the next street, and from the top floor you get a clear view of these houses, and I noticed a light in this room. I knew Jerome had taken this flat. He'd given me a key.
You must have been mistaken. It was probably the house next door.
I wasn't mistaken. I counted the houses. Anyway, since you'd invited me...
That's right. Lay it on with a trowel. Blacken my reputation.
I came here today because I wanted to find out the truth once and for all. I can't decide whether you're really a nice, sympathetic person, or just
Oh, for heaven's sake, don't call me a dear old friend of the family.
I was about to say, or just a sordid, low-down blackmailer.
Blackmail? I must ask you to explain that.
Oh, I don't mean blackmail for money. He's always dropping nasty little hints about some horrible secret in my father's past. Old Draymond's in on it too. They both know something they're not telling me. Then, last night, Jerome tried to get me to come to this flat. He hinted that when we were alone, he'd tell me the truth. But I didn't trust him.
Well, Mr. Burnaby, what have you to say to that?
I wanted a chance to talk to Rosette privately. I've been a damn fool, haven't I? I don't live here. I have a studio in Chelsea and a housekeeper, an excellent woman from Aberdeen, but a strict Presbyterian. I could never invite guests there. Female guests. That's why I rented this flat. Poor lonely old fool. I imagined Rosette was fond of me. I realise now that I was just deluding myself.
Oh, that needn't concern us, Mr. Burnaby. But we must know the story of Professor Grimaud's past. What can you tell us about that?
I can't tell you anything.
Do you know there are traces of bloodstains in this room? And that Pierre Flay was murdered outside this house last night?
Who?
Flay? Isn't that the man who barged into the pub last week and started threatening the professor?
Yes. Now, we believe he was the professor's brother, and that the same gun shot both men. What can you tell us about that, Mr. Burnaby? For a start, can you prove that you were not in this flat last night?
Yes, I can. I was with friends all the evening playing poker until 1 o'clock in the morning. They'll swear to that.
Miss Grimaud, do you still maintain you saw a light here at 10:30?
Yes, but... Jerome, I never meant to stir up any trouble.
You also said he invited you to meet him here last night. It doesn't seem very likely, does it? Now we know he'd planned to go out and play cards with his friends.
Mr. Burnaby, would it be true to say that after you extended your invitation to the young lady, you changed your mind?
That's right. I was on my way out when I looked at myself in a mirror. And I realised she was never going to come here. That's why I went and joined the poker school instead.
But somebody was here. Somebody who left the lights on all night, which is why the meter ran out. Who else knew you were taking this flat?
Oh, nobody knew, except...
Except me. And I certainly didn't tell anyone.
But he lent you a key. What happened to that?
I must have lost it. I kept it in my bag, but this morning I found it had gone. But what's all this nonsense about brothers? My father never had brothers.
Oh, yes, he did. You knew that, Mr. Burnaby. You painted the picture of the 3 graves.
That horrid picture in the study? But why?
What made you choose that particular subject?
I wish I'd never painted the wretched thing. Oh, here's how it happened. A year or 2 ago, I'd gone into a parish hall somewhere. It had come on to rain, and I hadn't got a coat with me. There was a chap lecturing on Hungary with lantern slides. One of them showed 3 graves on the mountains beyond. Somehow it caught my imagination. When I got home, I set to work. Some time later, Grimaud dropped into my studio and saw it. It gave him quite a turn. He lost his temper. But when he realised I'd no idea what he was talking about, he told me his story.
Having gone so far, Burnaby told us everything he could remember, just as Draymond had told it. The prison, the plague, the 2 brothers, Grimaud's escape. I expected Rosette to be horrified, but she seemed oddly relieved.
Is that what I've been worrying about? Some old story about graves and ghosts and vampires? This is the 20th century. Nobody takes that sort of thing seriously anymore.
Well, your father took it so seriously. He went back to Mr. Burnaby last week and bought the painting.
Yes, I was there when the van arrived. It was all wrapped up in sacking and so heavy it took 2 men to carry it upstairs.
Yes, a big picture and an important one. It was part of his plan to defend himself against something he was afraid might happen.
And yet, in the end, it did happen.
Hatley sent the girl back to Russell Square with Sergeant Betts. while we continued our investigation in Pierre Flay's bed-sitting room above the tobacconist's shop.
What are you expecting to find?
I never expect to find anything, but I'm hoping to discover some traces of Brother Henri.
Yes, goodness knows where he's hiding himself.
I don't think goodness has much to do with it. The mysterious Mr. Flay doesn't appear to have had much respect for Holy Writ, judging by that text hanging upside down over the washstand. Let's have it the right way up, shall we? Yeah, that's better.
Vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. I will repay.
Yes, he respected vengeance, if nothing else. But it's not just the text that was upside down. Our whole case has been turned upside down. Or perhaps I should say the wrong way round. Hello, what have you got there?
He's left a note on the bedside table, addressed to the landlord. I'm leaving you my few belongings, such as they are, in lieu of a week's notice. I shall not need them again. I'm going back to my grave. Signed, Pierre Flay.
Still harping on about his grave.
It sounds as if it ought to mean something, but it doesn't. I'm beginning to wonder if there ever was a person called Pierre Flay.
He certainly didn't leave much impression on this room. There's nothing here to help us.
Then I suggest we go back to Russell Square, and let's hope we find a few answers there.
Hey, steady on. What's the hurry?
I'm impatient to get on with this damn case. The further we go, the more impossible it seems.
Now, rest assured, whatever the solution may be, I promise you it will not be impossible.
Why not?
Because that's impossible.
A masked man enters a room, shoots Grimaud, and vanishes. 15 minutes later, Pierre Flay is shot in an empty street, and you say that's not impossible?
Oh, that's the easy part. Now, I told you I got the explanation for that from the church bells.
Are you being deliberately infuriating? I didn't even hear any damn bells.
No, neither did I, but that's perfectly simple. It's the escape from the locked room that bothers me. Grimaud's secretary, what's his name?
Stuart Mills.
Yeah, yes. Mills saw the stranger enter that room.
So did the housekeeper.
They both saw Grimaud open the door. A stranger went in. The door was locked. Sometime later, a shot rang out. They're both prepared to swear that nobody came out again. And yet,
when I broke the door down, Grimaud was alone in there dying. Look here, you don't suppose it was some kind of optical illusion, do you?
No. Mills said that the housekeeper spoke to him. And he pushed past her when he went in. Oh, no, he was solid enough.
And there was no illusion about the bullet that killed Grimaud. But what became of the gun? Are you telling me it was somehow whisked up the chimney and over the rooftops to land in Cagliostro Street just in time to shoot Flay?
Up the chimney? I wonder.
Look here. If you're suggesting the stranger climbed up the chimney...
Oh, no, nothing like that. No, I'd like to take another look at that chimney.
Well, now's your chance. Here's Russell Square, so you can... Hey, look at that.
An ambulance.
Outside Grimaud's house. Come on. And the front door's open. Don't tell me someone else has...
Oh, thank goodness you're here.
Mangan, what is it?
Something's happened to Draymond. A kind of stroke, apparently.
He's not...
No, but he's in a bad way. The ambulance men are with him now.
Another casualty.
Yes, old Draymond. He's been talking wildly about somebody getting into his room. Something about fireworks. Let's go.
Boyd Mangan, the Canadian journalist and close friend of Rosette Grimaud, took us into the drawing room where we found the young lady with Stuart Mills and Madame Dumont, who sat by the fire staring into the flames.
Where is Mr. Draymond?
Downstairs, in his room. You cannot see him. They will take him to the hospital.
I can't stand it. Inspector, what is going on? For pity's sake, you must tell us something.
Take it easy, sweetheart.
Suppose you start by telling us what happened to Mr. Draymond. Is he in any serious danger?
It is possible. He collapsed. His heart is not strong. Whether he will ever recover, I do not know.
Mr. Mills, you were about to say something?
Well, if you have any idea that there's been foul play, you can put that right out of your mind. When it happened, Madame Dumont and I were upstairs in my office. Miss Grimaud and Mr. Mangan were here, in the drawing room.
That's right. We were on our own when old Draymond came in.
Forgive the intrusion. Can you tell me where I can find the inspector? What's his name?
Inspector Hadley. Why, what's wrong?
It's rather difficult to explain, but... Well, you see, something's missing from my bedroom down in the basement. I found it had disappeared, and then I remembered something that happened last night, something I'd forgotten. I'd taken a sleeping pill because I had a bad headache, and while I was asleep, I'm pretty sure someone came into my room.
Oh, who was it?
I'm not sure. It may not have happened. I might have dreamt it, but there's certainly something missing. I must go upstairs and make sure.
I thought you said this happened downstairs.
Yes, but it might be upstairs. I must find out.
I think I can continue the story from that point. Madame Dumont and I were in my office across the landing when Draymond came stumbling up the stairs. He seemed very confused. I thought perhaps he'd been drinking.
How dare you say such things? I know you do not like poor Draymond, but he is a good man. And if he dies, I shall pray for his soul.
May I have your permission to continue?
Yes, you may have my permission.
Thank you. Anyway, Draymond came upstairs and went into the professor's study. He closed the door. I couldn't see what he was doing. When he reappeared, he was dishevelled and breathless, as if he'd been taking violent exercise. Possibly that was what brought on the subsequent attack. And his hands and sleeves were covered in soot.
That damned chimney again. Dr. Fell, did you... Where is he?
No, he slipped out a few minutes ago.
I think he went upstairs.
Did he indeed? Excuse me, I'll just go and have a word with him. Doctor?
Who's that? Oh, Hadley.
So you came to have another look round?
Yes, I did.
And did you find anything?
Well, in a way, I think I did. I think I know the truth now, but the trouble is, I don't know what to do about it.
I don't understand.
Oh, it's the old question. And with each year that passes, I find it harder to answer. What is justice? I ask myself at the end of almost every case. Yes, well, shall we go downstairs?
No, wait a bit. Mills says when Draymond came out of this room, his hands were covered in soot. Could there be some kind of secret passage in
Good
the
heavens, no, nothing like that. No, I told you, nobody got out that way.
Excuse me, sir.
Come in, Bits. What is it?
This message just came over from Scotland Yard in reply to your inquiry.
I got the yard to put a call through to Bucharest to check on Brother Henri. Thank you, Bets.
Sir.
Let's have a look. Dear God.
Well, what is it?
You were right when you said our case has been turned upside down. We're on the wrong track altogether. As to Brother Henri...
I think I can guess what you're going to say.
There is no Brother Henri. The third brother died over 30 years ago. They weren't political prisoners. They were sentenced to 20 years for bank robbery. The loot was never recovered. With the help of a corrupt doctor, they made an attempt to escape, being certified as dead and buried in plague ground. When Caroli Horvath's grave was found to be disturbed and his coffin empty, the warders opened the other graves, finding Pierre Horvath unconscious but still alive. He was returned to prison and served out the rest of his sentence.
And the third brother?
Suffocated inside his coffin. We've been chasing a ghost.
Yes, I was afraid of that.
But it makes no sense. All our theories about vengeance, the quarrel between Flay and Grimo, that's all gone. There's nothing left.
Oh, not at all. Don't you see what we're left with?
What?
The only explanation for the two murders.
You mean someone else cooked up the whole thing to make it look like the work of an avenger? The murderer pretended to be Brother Henri?
Oh, no. Where's the motive? Oh, there could be any number of motives for killing Grimo, or for killing Flay, but not by the same person. The people who knew Grimo didn't know Flay, and vice versa. If the murders are the work of one person, that person must be the link between a respected professor in Bloomsbury and a shabby conjurer from the East End.
I can think of one person who could have known them both. Madame Dumont.
Possibly. But are you suggesting she dressed up as the masked man to impersonate Henri? Whatever else she may have done, she didn't do that. Mills saw Dumont arguing with the visitor.
We've only got his word for that. Damn it, a lot of our case depends on the evidence of Mills and Dumont. They could be in this together.
No, don't forget, that woman loved Grimo. She loved him for 30 years or more. No, we must look elsewhere.
Really? And where do you suggest?
In the grate. Or rather, at the charred papers we found in the grate. Did you send them off for chemical testing?
Yes, I should have the result first thing in the morning. Whatever's on those papers, printing, typing, even handwriting, the experts should be able to give us some idea of what they contain.
Yes, well, Come round at breakfast time. I'll be interested to hear the result.
Why, where are you off to?
I'm going home. It's been a long day. Hadley told me later that he'd sat up half the night trying to decide which of our possible suspects could have shot the two brothers. He considered them in turn: Mills, Drayman, Burnaby, our helpful Irishman O'Rourke, even young Mangan. But when dawn broke, he was no nearer a solution. I was tucking into my eggs and bacon when he arrived the next morning. I could see that he'd had a restless night. Come in, Hadley. Oh, you look terrible. Have some coffee and a piece of toast?
No, thanks. But I do have some news for you.
Good or bad?
Depends how you look at it. Good from Burnaby's point of view. We checked his alibi and the poker school all vouch for him. He's not our man. And all the rest were at Russell Square. By the by, the undertakers will return Grimaud's body to the house this morning. A sort of lying in state requested by Rosette and Madame Dumont.
How about the laboratory tests on the charred papers? What did they come up with?
Nothing. There was nothing on those papers. No printing, no writing, nothing at all. Apart from a few scraps of thicker paper or thin card with printing, but not enough to be legible. Why anyone should want to burn documents with nothing on them...
Because they weren't documents. Come on, Hadley. It's time to go back to Russell Square and clear up this unholy mess once and for all.
Clear it up?
But you want to meet the Invisible Man, don't you? The Hollow Man who's been giving us nightmares? Very well, I'll introduce you, and we'll see if we can extract a confession. All the blinds were drawn at the house in Russell Square. It looked more dead than ever. Hadley rang the bell, and after a moment, Mills answered the door.
Oh, Inspector.
Good morning, Mr. Mills. May we come in?
Yes, of course. Good morning, Dr. Fell.
Good morning. I'd like to see Madame Dumont. Where is she?
She's in the drawing room with the... you know.
Yes, we do know. The room was in a dim half-light, lost in shadows, apart from one object that dominated. Ringed with burning candles, an open coffin, lined with white satin. Grimaud's face had an oddly serene appearance, as if he had reached a kind of peace at last. But the woman turned on us fiercely.
Well, what do you want?
I think you know. And it will do you good to confess, madame. Believe me.
Confess? Oh, so that is what you think, huh? You idiots. You want me to confess to murder?
No, you were not the murderer. But you were the accessory, the confederate.
To a murderer? To a hollow man?
A hollow man, indeed. But he told us the truth, Hadley, and we didn't understand it. Do you want to meet the man we've been searching for? There he is. Though God forbid that we should judge him now.
You know. Do you really know?
Oh, yes. I know.
Please, go upstairs. Go to his room. I will join you both in a moment. Do not worry. I shall not run away.
We entered Grimaud's study for the last time. Hadley made sure the door was closed, then turned to me for an explanation.
Are you trying to tell me Grimaud killed Flay?
Oh, yes, he did.
While he was unconscious, dying in that hospital, he went to Cagliostro Street and shot...
No, that's what I meant when I said the case was the wrong way round. Yesterday morning, when we went to Cagliostro Street, we were told that 3 witnesses, all truthful men, had said that the shooting happened at 10 o'clock. They were sure about that, because they'd all seen, as you yourself saw, the clock over the jeweller's shop. It wasn't until later that I understood. When I asked you the time, you said it was just gone 11. That puzzled me, and presently I realized what was wrong. The church bells.
Those damn bells again. What about them?
There weren't any. On Sundays, most churches have morning service at 11 and start calling the faithful 5 or 10 minutes before. Yet we heard nothing. When I checked it, I found that the clock above the shop was 40 minutes fast. So the shooting the night before couldn't have taken place at 10. It was 40 minutes earlier, say about 9:20. In other words, 25 minutes before the masked man entered this house.
But I still don't see. If you're saying Grimo shot Flay in Cagliostro Street sometime before 9:20...
Now, let's go back to the beginning, to the night when Flay turned up at the pub and threatened Grimo. In front of a group of strangers, he used his dead brother as a threat. He asked, "Shall I get him to call on you?" Then handed Grimo a card with his name and address. What he was really saying was this: "You, my brother, are fat and rich on the proceeds of a robbery we both committed in our younger days, and I am poor. Now, will you do a deal with me, or shall I set the police onto you?"
Blackmail. But hang on. Then he said, "I also am in danger when I associate with my brother."
Oh, so he was. He ran the risk that Grimo would try to silence him. Later he told O'Rourke, "I'm going to see my brother, but if anything goes wrong, you can find him in Cagliostro Street. Not at my address. He lives elsewhere. He's taking lodgings there."
I still don't see...
He was right to be cautious. Grimo had no intention of doing a deal with him. He only had one plan. Flay must die. But since Flay had been shrewd enough to give his name and address to a group of strangers, if anything happened to him, it could be awkward for Grimo. So he planned a very ingenious murder.
Go on.
The effect he intended to produce was this. The mysterious Flay must be seen calling on him on Saturday night. He'd be seen entering the study with Grimo. They'd have a row, a shot would be fired, and when the door was opened, Grimo would be found alone, slightly wounded, but not fatally. Next morning, Flay would be found dead in his own lodgings, with a gun in his hand, having killed himself in a fit of remorse. But as we know, the plan miscarried.
Flay was supposed to be found in his digs above the tobacconist.
That was the original idea. Grimo arranged to meet him there, but he couldn't risk being seen going in or out. However, he had another way of getting in. Remember, Burnaby's love nest was on the same side as the tobacconist's. Grimo, who had probably spied on his daughter, had borrowed the key to Burnaby's flat from her handbag. All he had to do was go to the flat, get out through the skylight, and walk back across the rooftops to Flay's digs, and let himself in the same way.
Well, what happened? Flay didn't keep the appointment?
Oh, yes, he did, though I expect his suspicions were aroused. He'd seen Grimo hanging about a few days earlier. That's why Flay was under the impression that he'd rented the flat at number 18. No, the two men met as arranged. Grimo promised him the earth, then agreed to patch up their lifelong enmity.
Because Grimo had made off with the proceeds of the bank robbery all those years ago.
He'd done worse than that. He'd promised his brothers he'd help them escape from their graves. But he double-crossed them and left them there. One died in his coffin, and it was only by chance that Flay survived. Grimo must have promised him a fortune to compensate for that. Still, he lulled his suspicion somehow. He even persuaded him to dictate the note to the landlord.
But how do you know all this?
My dear chap, Grimo told us himself. At least he tried to. To continue, Flay writes the note. They're ready to depart, and Grimo whips out the gun. Whether Flay was still on his guard, I don't know, but there was a struggle, and the gun went off. And Grimo realized he'd made a bad mistake. Instead of shooting him through the heart, he'd shot him in the back. Impossible for a suicide. Flay collapsed, and Grimo just had sense enough to jam the gun into his hand, then make his escape through the skylight. He scrambled back to number 18 and let himself into Burnaby's flat.
But what about Flay? He didn't die there.
No. He was badly wounded, but he wouldn't give in. He had to get help. He had to find...
a doctor.
Exactly. You remember the doctor was at the far end of the street? That's where Flay was going. At the same moment, in number 18, Grimo has gone downstairs to look out and make sure the coast is clear. He opens the door, and there is the man he's just left for dead. Flay, still clutching the gun, does not hesitate. He cries out, "The second bullet is for you," and fires. The effort is too much for his failing strength. He screams, tries to fling the empty gun at Grimaud, and falls to the ground. But the bullet hit Grimaud in the chest as he closed the door.
And nobody saw him?
When Frey collapsed, the witnesses all ran to help him. By the time they looked around, the door was shut and Grimaud had gone. He never stepped outside and never left any tracks in the snow.
So what happened to him?
In Burnaby's flat, he examines the wound. It's not too painful. He probably grins. After all, he's only got what he'd planned to give himself anyway, a wound. It's bleeding pretty badly. But he's determined to carry through his original scheme. So he cleans up as best he can, then sets off to go home.
Leaving the lights on all night?
Yes. They were still burning when Rosette saw them, 50 minutes later. Grimaud got back to Russell Square by 9:45 and entered his house by the back door. He couldn't risk leaving footprints on the front steps.
So who rang the front doorbell?
He did, but he opened the door from inside. Then he locked Mangan and Rosette in the drawing room and called out to them, pretending to be draymen. When he was dying, he said to us, "Don't blame poor." He was trying to say drayman. Then he followed Madame Dumont upstairs. They had to carry out the illusion.
Now we're coming to it. How was it done? And how did you work it out?
Well, I've been puzzled by the weight of that picture, Burnaby's painting of the graves. It's big, but a framed canvas isn't that heavy. Yet when it was brought into the house, wrapped up in sacking, it took 2 men to carry it. So it wasn't hard to work out that there must have been something else wrapped up with it. But what would be the same size and shape as a picture, only a damn sight heavier?
Tell me.
A mirror. Grimaud had a very large mirror, taller and wider than the door, propped up just inside the study.
You mean it was one of those damned theatrical illusions?
A new version of an old illusion. When he came upstairs and argued with Madame Dumont, for the benefit of their one-man audience, Stuart Mills, he only had to open the door, remove the mask, and Mills would see Professor Grimaud inside, coming towards him, dimly, because there was only one small light on the landing. It only took a moment before he stepped inside, and the show was over. But it had served its purpose.
But what became of the mirror? There's no hiding place in this room.
There is. Inside the fireplace. If you look up there, you'll find a ledge just above your head, wide enough and tall enough to take the mirror, before it narrows into the chimney. No doubt the effort of lifting the mirror into its hiding place brought on his final hemorrhage.
Yes, but what about the clothes the masked man was wearing? The long black coat and cap, and the mask itself.
Do you remember O'Rourke's tale of the vanishing horseman? Grimaud's cap and coat, like the mask, were made of paper. Madame Dumont was a costumier in her younger days. That's why your tests showed nothing except plain paper. Apart from the firework, of course.
What firework?
Grimaud slipped into Drayman's room and took one of the fireworks the old man collected. He didn't have the gun now, but Mills had to hear the sound of a shot. Any more questions?
Only one. What about the slashing of the picture? And one more question. What became of the knife?
Slashing the picture was an extra touch to add to the mystery, I imagine. But as for the knife, I have no idea. Unless it's somewhere inside the chimney, along with the mirror.
That is the one point on which you are wrong.
Madame.
I heard everything you said. Perhaps you would hang me, perhaps not. That is of no importance. After so many years, it is not worthwhile going on without Charles. I took the knife, gentlemen. I had another use for it.
I've done a terrible thing, Hadley. I've told the truth.
In Part 2 of The Hollow Man by John Dickson Carr, Dr. Gideon Fell was played by Donald Sinden and Detective Inspector Hadley by John Hartley. Ernestine Dumont, Gilly Mears, Rosette Grimaud, Amanda Gordon, Stuart Mills, Eoin Meredith, Jerome Burnaby, Stephen Thorne. Michael O'Rourke, Steve Hodson. Pierre Flay, Sean Baker. Henry Drayman, Hugh Dixon. Boyd Mangan, Chris Pavlo. Sergeant Betts, Robert Harper. The Hollow Man was dramatized for radio by Peter Ling and directed by Enid Williams.
This world is endless, so wide, so far, but somehow I'm still lost in you. The streets are full of moving shadows, countless places I could go. City shining, people passing, yet I still feel so alone. Every road keeps leading nowhere, every sky feels cold and blue. In this world so vast and open, I'm still lost in missing you. The world is wide, so wide before me, but I keep losing my way. Somewhere in the endless distance, your memory makes me stay. For no matter where these feet may wander, I'm still lost in missing you. I have tried to outrun silence, tried to leave your ghost behind, but your name still echoes softly through the corners of my mind. The world is wide, so wide before me, but I keep losing my way. Somewhere in the endless distance, your memory makes me stay. Still lost in missing you. Maybe someday I'll stop searching for your face in every crowd, but until that day, this broken heart will keep calling your name out. The world is wide, so wide before me, but I keep losing my way. Somewhere in the endless distance, your memory makes me stay. The world moves on without us, but my heart untrue. For no matter where these feet may wander, I'm still lost in missing